So I got a message from someone, and they were basically asking me, was it okay for them to cry at their Santa Muerte altar? They basically told me that someone else, or they had learned from someone else, that it is not respectful to cry at the altar. You're not allowed to cry at the altar. And they were asking me if, in my opinion, was it okay that they cry at the altar? I just want to say that that is an absolutely crazy thing for anyone to say. I've never heard that in my entire life. I don't know what they're on. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know who this person was who's spreading this crazy misinformation. You absolutely can have an emotional moment at the altar. And that's not just La Santa Muerte's altar. I feel like people who work with different deities and beings and spirits and angels and saints, as humans, we all come to our breaking points. We all have times of emotional weakness. We all have times where we're at our lowest points. We have times where we're overloaded and stressed out. And of course, when we come to our altars, we go there for solace, for comfort, for peace, for reassurance. And we are going to be emotional sometimes. When we're emotional, that's not disrespectful. We are just humans having human emotions, human feelings. We're humans living a human life. And these powerful beings understand that. They don't attack us or find us making them angry because we are expressing our emotions. You can be emotional without being disrespectful. Being disrespectful is a completely different thing. And when we're emotional, if I go to my altar and I'm emotional, it's La Santa Muerte isn't going to turn me away or become enraged with me. She is known for being a very comforting presence, especially, for example, the white aspect. My personal gnosis is that she is the one who holds and embraces her devotees when they're at their emotional low points. She is a very comforting presence, a comforting force. And I think it's insane, quite frankly, that anyone would be going around saying you cannot cry at the altar. That's like the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. Whenever people are going through it, that's when they turn to their spirituality. That's when they turn to their religion or their, paths or their guides or their beings. That's when they turn to their spiritual practice. And to say to someone, you can't do that when you're emotional, when that's usually the number one time you should be at the altar. And I think that it's just funny that some people are out there saying that, but what's not funny is that some people who are inexperienced are going around believing that because they don't know any better, because they haven't been taught any better, or because they haven't been practicing enough to be able to use discernment or to have a good context or a good place of a reference point to be able to say something is totally wrong right away versus with other things which are more open to interpretation. In my opinion, this is absolutely not something that's open to interpretation. You can come to the altar while you're going through it, emotionally speaking. Absolutely. I have many times, when I was going through it, not recently, but we'll say within a year, I was betrayed, by someone I thought was my friend in a very terrible way. And I thought, I was at the altar. I was very emotional. I'm not gonna lie about it. And it's not something I'm embarrassed by, and it's not something I really like to talk about, but it is the truth. And I only mention this to tell you that I do it, other people do it, and you can do it too. And I wasn't being disrespectful or weird. I was just being honest at my altar. I'm not going to lie and act like I'm happy at the altar when I'm not. And since I'm working with a being who can see into my mind, see into my heart, why would you lie anyway? Why would you try to mask your feelings and your emotions or bottle them up? That's just going to lead to sickness or illness in the body if you keep doing that for so long anyway. So, all this is just to say it's perfectly fine for you to cry at the altar. It's perfectly fine for you to be angry when you sit down at the altar. I would not advise doing divination or trying to do rituals or magic or spell work sometimes when you're in an emotional state that is angry or very depressed or anxiety ridden. But if you're simply wishing to talk to a being that you work with, especially if it's for needing someone to talk to, if you need comfort or something, then of course you're going to talk to them. They're basically like a family member at that point. They're part of your support system. That's a better way to put it. So of course you're going to want to turn to them. So that's all I really wanted to say here. Thank you for listening. And if you have any more questions you have about anything, just let me know on uh, Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. But I'm more likely to see it on Instagram if you send me a direct message. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you soon in the next one. Take care.